What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another SBT Finals match. This is in the Challengers division where we have Simpleton versus Ghost, two coaches that have done exquisitely well throughout the season. Simple actually making second seed all the way up until the finals. Um, and this game is going to be interesting for sure. Ghost has a very strong and offensive team, and Simple has a very balanced and I believe it takes advantage of his opponent's defense to get on the offense. So, um, yeah, I have a feeling this should be a good one. I'm recording it post com just because I've missed the match and it's I kind of wanted it to be post com so I don't get spoiled at all. But anyways, we can look over their teams that they have here and potential brings for both sides. Simple has really powerful wall breakers in Mega Mawile, Rillaboom, and Nitty King. And even Primarina if he wants to. And then he has things like Mew and Rotom and Steelix that can be potential brings as well. Ghost, on the other hand, has a really strong Fairy Dragon Steel core with Garchomp, Gardevoir, and Reggie there. And he has things like Swellow and Victini and Urshifu Rapid Strike that can potentially sweep late game. It's all a matter of how he decides to play around it. So, um, yeah, when it comes to potential brings on Simple's end, he really needs an answer for EQ Garchomp, which could potentially be Rotom if it wasn't already weak to things like Rock. Um, so he could bring a very defensive Primarina. He could bring Rillaboom to make sure EQ spam doesn't happen. He could bring Pyukumuku, honestly, to kind of set up screens or just be there as a nuisance and baton passer, give him some initiative where he doesn't need as much, considering he has things like Primarina Flip, he has Volt Switch, Rotom, and Rillaboom. Rillaboom is a very nice end game if Simple wants to go with that route because obviously Ghost has things like Garchomp, Gardevoir, Rotom, Urshifu, all things that are very offensive and can take on Simple's team, but not against the Rillaboom. If the Rillaboom is banded and wants to click his Grassy Glide late game, it could be a very big, huge nuisance to Ghost's team. So he needs things like Registeel, Victini, potentially Grottle if he wants to bring that thing. I'm not sure how much damage it's going to be doing, but who knows. Um, but yeah, it could be clear. Simple just wants to bring like the top six, omit one, throw in Rillaboom. He could have the Sneasel if he wants the Ice Shard for late game, because Garchomp getting up some boosts would not be a good for Simple, of course. Ghost, he could potentially bring things like the Victini, which does really well against Simple's team. It pretty much 2-hit KOs anything if it has a choice band. He might not go that route, of course, but seeing Simple's team, it kind of looks that way. Like Pyukumuku, I have a feeling it might. Victini could, of course, just bring like Final Gambit and could mess up one of Simple's mons for a free switching for Ghost later on, but it might be better to keep it. I think Urshifu Rapid has a place in this matchup as well, with priority in the end game. He could give him that fighting stab if he needs it. It doesn't really help anything against help for anything on Simple's end. Even against the Sneasel, it doesn't really need fighting stab. So it could come, it could not. I have a feeling it might. Rotom Wash is all around just a good bring as well. There's not too many switch-ins for Simple's team besides the Gudra and Rillaboom. So, so yeah, for sure, it's going to be an interesting match depending on how each team wants to break the others before they bring in their before they bring in their cleaners. So let's look at what they brought. So we have the match loaded up here, and it looks like Ghost ended up bringing his Gardevoir, Victini. Yeah, so pretty much it looks like what we thought. I thought maybe the Urshifu would want to come, but Drapion comes instead there. On Simple's end, he brings pretty much the top, and he does bring the Pyukumuku, which is very interesting. I was considering, like, if he brings it for Victini, for Urshifu, if it has a Rocky Helmet, it could have a Rocky Helmet, you never know. and it does a good job at being very defensive. So nice bring. I I'm curious what that Mew is. We're always curious whatever Mew set wants to come here. It definitely could be offensive here. It could be defensive based on the build of Simple's squad here. But it could very well be offensive. Like Simple could bring a heavily offensive squad to counterbalance against Ghost's team, and Ghost has a very balanced, offensive slash defensive team as well. So yeah, you know what? Ghost could honestly just, um, he could just lead with Rotom if he wants to. Nothing really wants to take a Hydro Pump besides Rillaboom, and even if he does, he could just Volt Switch on that. I don't know if Simple wants to lead with the Nidoking there. It's nice, maybe if it's Scarf to kind of take on the Garchomp if it needs to be, but Garchomp could get some boosts if it needs to. I don't think Scarf Garchomp is necessary in this matchup, considering Rillaboom kind of nerfs it a little bit, but he could have Stomping Tantrum. Mew could lead if it's defensive. He could honestly lead with a Pyukumuku and get a Baton Pass off, that kind of thing. And Ghost, he doesn't really need to lead with a Chomp. He could lead with with Victini or Gardevoir. Simple really has to prep for lead Victini, so it might lead the Pyukumuku, but we'll have to see for sure, because otherwise Simple doesn't really have the best switching to Victini. So let's get into it. I'll put it on slow so I can commentate over them, and let's see what they end up leading off. So it looks like Simple ends up leading with a Gudra instead, which might be to counter out this Victini lead here. You see a U-turn. I'm not sure how much damage that is because I don't have the calcs in front of me, but it doesn't look banded to me. In comes the Rotom, and we do see an Iron Tail, so expecting the Gardevoir to maybe come in there. Very ballsy play. He could have gone for an EQ or something instead, but we don't get a discharge off on that. Sorry, we don't get a. That was a critical hit, and I don't know how much that mattered, but that just dropped Rotom early game, and that might be really huge for Simple getting rid of that Rotom early match. You see a scale shot, so it looks like Ghost is going for this Gusto play early on, and he definitely gets he has the life orb, and he just wants to get out of there. He doesn't think it's worth it, whatever this Pikumuku wants to do. It looks like he was just trying to sack it to get some screens up, but makes a lot of sense, and he gets up the screen. In comes the Victini here, and Simple does not want to be in here with this, so he switches out, and it looks like Victini is either mixed or just very special. He has the taunt, so very nice bring there. He can't go for the recover. Pikumuku is probably going to be fodder soon at this point, but we do see the blue flare. Crit, no burn, and Gudra is free to do whatever it wants here. He could potentially just go for an EQ. He can go for another Iron Tail if he wants to. Let's see what he ends up doing. So he goes for the Draco, expecting the Gardevoir not to come in this time. And now this, of course, we've seen Power Whip, so we just see Simple bringing out the Nidoking. Nice response in case Registeel wants to stay in and go for rocks. A huge side shock there, getting damage off, but Simple was okay taking this trade, getting rid of Victini. Getting rid of Victini was very nice for Simple. In comes Ghost's Gardevoir to get some revenge on this. And it does take out the Nidoking with that Hyper Voice. So Mawile might want to come in here. Instead, Rillaboom comes in. Now, this thing could very well be banded. It could be Scarf. It could be going for a U-turn. Instead, it goes for a Glide. So, banned it could be. It did a lot of damage to Registeel with that priority move. In comes Pikumuku. We do see Amnesia Rillaboom. Oh, sorry, Amnesia Registeel. Interesting take on what this Registeel wants to be. I'm not sure if it's also Iron Defense, but we do see a Toxic, so +2 Special Defense. Not sure what's going to be happening here, but we could see a Stomping Tantrum right here, a Bandit Stomping Tantrum. Instead, it's a Superpower. So we do get a lot of damage off on this Registeel, and it's almost close to dead. I think Simple has to follow up the attack just to get rid of this thing. It doesn't really matter if he switches out, but had he swapped out right there, would have been really nice, because Ghost could easily bring in the Gardevoir right here, But if Simple wants to bring in the Mawile right here, that would have been really nice for him. Instead, he just goes for another superpower. I think Simple really wanted to get rid of that Registeel. At this point, Registeel is pretty much spotter. It comes to Kimuku, so Simple's probably just sacking this off and getting some damage off on the Gardevoir. Um, or was it? I have no idea how innards out really works, but it could have been unaware. So we could be seeing a Grassy Glide here. There's not too many swaps anymore. The Drapion is probably going to come in, and let's see what ends up happening here. If the Drapion wants to set up, I don't know how much it's going to be doing, especially with Mawile still a thing. But it could be very scary because this thing could be sniper and could be very offensive. It's already at +2, a knockoff, heavy knockoff, doing so much damage, and at least we got the gooey on him. So now he might now outspeed things like Rillaboom. In comes Mawile to get intimidated off, of course, and so it ends up happening. This could be just a sack with a huge play rough, and that's going to drop. That's a crit, but I don't think it mattered. It's going to drop the Gardevoir. Um, Ghost has to bring in the Garchomp. This could be Stomping Tantrum. It doesn't even take it out, and I think this is going to be a play rough. So they're going to take each other out, and it's going to be Drapion versus the world here. I think Rillaboom has to just come in and go for his own Stomping Tantrum. Mew actually comes in. So this could be Colbur, and it has EQ and did a lot of damage. We do see SD, and that's going to be the game, unfortunately, because Ghost, unless he has Protect or something, yeah, that's going to be it. So very nice match to both coaches. Simple was able to reserve that Mew late game and just clean up there. He was very fortunate with that Power Whip crit early on against Rotom, but I'm not sure how much that would have done regardless. In any case, congratulations to Simple for double promoting into Victors, and congratulations to Ghost for promoting up to Guardians next season. It's going to be very hype, and yeah, again, good game to both coaches. That's going to be a 2-0 for Simple, and stay tuned for more content, guys.